Hello, this is Business Live from the BBC with Aaron Heselhurst and Ben Thompson.
Oh, BP profits, they fall 20% as its boss outlines plans to offload another $10 billion worth of assets by the end of this year, all due to those falling oil prices.
Yeah, that's right. It's our top story. It's our top story today, but of course the profit figures are much higher than many had expected. So did the city overestimate the impact of falling oil prices? We'll be finding out. Also in the programme, another bumper crop from the tech giant Apple. They've reported a $13.6 billion profit. Shares in the company, they were up 1% after markets closed. And European markets are now open after seeing some fresh all-time highs yesterday, but as you can see, not continuing that winning streak. We'll discuss why.
And how about this? Built just 30 years ago, Dubai Airport is now the busiest in the world, overtaking London's Heathrow for that top spot. How did they do it? I tell you what, we're going to meet the man who runs it. We've got him in the studio. Send us your questions and, of course, stay in touch with us on social media. Just use the hashtag BBC BizLive.
Hello to you, a very warm welcome to the programme. We're kicking off with an issue today that's dominated the headlines in recent weeks. It is, of course, that falling price of oil. Today, we've had an update on the impact. Oil giant BP has kicked off the reporting season for the big oil firms. It's reported a 20% fall in profits. They were down to $2.6 billion from $3.2 billion just a year before. Now, the financial damage is being inflicted by those low oil and gas prices, of course, compared to this time last year. That's all become very clear, and it could now put further pressure on Chief Executive Bob Dudley as he tries to steer the company back to full health amid continuing fallout, of course, from that accident at the Deepwater Horizon rig. Now, you remember the oil price is roughly 40% lower than this time last year. All the big oil companies, they've been pulling back on the amount of money that they invest in new projects, exploration, infrastructure, and many, of course, have been laying off staff too. Well, last Thursday, BP announced its latest sell-off. It's a major North Sea pipeline system. It's selling that for £320 million. That's about $487 million. BP's rival Royal Dutch Shell recently announced it's taking over Britain's BG Group, which has sparked speculation that there could be a wave of consolidation in the sector.
Okay, good on you, Ben. Let's stay with this because Sarabjit Chahal is the investment advisors. Fat Profits. You're an oil expert. We always have you on. Great to see you, Sarabjit. Hey, so look, let's talk about the numbers and some of the wording that came with the numbers. Bob Dudley, the big boss, said we are resettling and rebalancing BP. What is he? I mean, what he's doing? He's shrinking BP, isn't he?
Effectively, Aaron, yes. You know, I think what we've seen from BP since 2010 has been a reduction in the size of the company. They've had to sell off these assets. I think that's very much likely to continue. You mentioned there at the top the sale of Europe's largest gas pipe there. There's another $2 billion that BP are going to look to sell in their American gas pipes, and they've committed to another $10 billion for 2014 to 2015 to sell off there as well. So it is a company that is becoming more streamlined.
A 20% fall, that's the headline figure, but it's much better than many had been expecting. So that raises the question whether the city was actually overestimating the impact of falling oil prices. I mean, is that fair? Is that what they've done?
I think that's a very fair point, because one thing I think we've got to remember with BP is since the Deepwater Horizon crisis, they have been streamlining. They've been cutting back, whereas other companies who have, you know, while it all was at $115 a barrel, were focusing much more on just getting the oil out of the ground. They were very much in a process where they had to be reducing the size of the company, cutting off the fat and making sure that their business is very focused.
Can I ask you this, because we had the big announcement a couple of weeks ago, Shell buying Britain's BG Group, and it's got the speculation, the rumours. Is BP a takeover target?
Well, I think there's probably only one company, Aaron, that could actually take them over, and that would be ExxonMobil.
Why? Because of the deep pockets.
Well, exactly, yeah. You've got to have a pretty healthy cash balance in order to go in for BP. But I think there's two or three issues that you've really got to look at. You've got the ongoing potential liability with the Deepwater Horizon. You know, how much are BP actually going to have to pay out there? We've got the fact that the reputational damage over in the States. A lot of people were acutely affected by a big environmental disaster like that, and the fact that BP are in bed with the Russians, who, with sanctions imposed upon them. Do you really want to be taking over BP just yet? So I think it still remains to be seen whether Exxon will actually go in for that deal.
Okay, Sarwjit Chahal from Fat Profits. We always appreciate your time. Thanks very much.
Yeah, and incidentally, just looking at its share price, BP shares up about 0.5% so far this morning, so investors not